And welcome to a special bonus episode of Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We get the music fade out.
You scream so loud at times.
Yeah, you always come in yelling,
It's
and
like-
I have to adjust you and then turn you back up later.
I want to come in strong.
That's what she said.
So we are Beer Fueled Fantasy Football, joined on the air by Matt from Top 2 Sports. We are doing a special mock episode for you guys today. 4-round rookie mock before the NFL draft when we get these landing spots shaken out. Hashtag landing spots matter.
So, Matt, how are you doing? You're from Top 2 Pod, a co-host there, co-founder of Top 2 Sports, a Yankees fan that apparently holds Orioles season tickets, which is a little weird, and a redliner of my auction picks. So, personal enemy. How are you?
Wow, what an introduction. I don't know how to follow that up. Excited to be here. Ready to dig into this 4-round mock draft here. More excited to be picking right before you, Hopper, so I can also swipe your picks.
It's okay. I get to snipe Nick, which is even more satisfying to me, so I'll let you have it.
I feel so unsatisfied that everyone gets to snipe everybody and just oh, there's Dan.
I mean,
He couldn't do
I'll
his
snipe
thing.
you.
All right, that works.
Okay, anyway.
So let's hit up a beer preview, and then I want to get into this 4-round mock.
Beer Fuel.
All right, before we reveal the beer here, do you have anything on the air there, Matt?
I'm drinking a fresh Flesh and Blood IPA, which is from Dogfish Head, relatively local to the Baltimore area, coming out of Baltimore. Big fan of it. It's always a good IPA when I don't hate it.
That's their blood orange, isn't it?
It is,
the
yes.
Flesh and Blood. Yeah, that one's pretty solid. I picked up a Bloody Mary ale from Dogfish Head.
I thought that was Flying Dog.
Oh, no, that's Flying Dog. My bad.
Wrong dog.
Yeah.
Wrong dog.
Also local. I respect that.
Yeah,
my
you-
favorite Dogfish Head is actually Sea Quench, but it's more of a summer beer, and it's not quite warm
That's
enough for that.
the lime and sea salt one, isn't it?
I'm a fan of sours.
Yeah, we like that. Hopper did not.
I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan. I'm
we've
not a
had-
big. I liked it. I'm just not a big fan
We've
of
had
lime.
what 2 or 3 dogfish on?
Yeah,
Ed?
we've had several from Dogfish Head. They do some good stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to try.
We're
I
fans.
think it's their. I don't remember now. It's one of their stouts.
I will say I just love their 90-minute. All right.
They're not. Yeah, that's the classic.
Yep, I like the 120 also.
And then for us here in studio, we've got Evil Twin Brewing on for a third time. They are based out of Connecticut, and we have their Imperial Biscotti Break, which is a dessert-style Imperial Stout, clocking in over 11%. So by the time round 4 rolls around, this should be a real fun show.
Indeed, it should be.
All right, one quick news item. Do we want to do the drop?
Yeah.
News.
All right, this was too big not to cover on the episode, especially when we have Matt here to give his take on it as well. C.J. Anderson was released by the Denver Broncos. He is a free agent. There's a couple places people are speculating he's going to go. But before we get to that, what do you think, guys? What is this impact for the Denver Broncos? My mouth tried to go 2 places
Words
at
are
once
hard.
there.
Devontae Booker is going to get a lot of hype, but I implore people, do not forget D'Angelo Henderson exists.
And they'll probably draft a running back in the first few rounds.
And just ruin everyone.
And then that'll be it because he'll probably be better than all 4 of them there.
Training camp battle.
Yep.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm a CJ truther. I think he was used very poorly in Denver. You look at the games last season where he had high volume. He did well, so I'm hoping this actually increases his value because I think Denver just totally misused him last year.
I can agree with that. At times he seemed ineffective, but it's like you've got to stick with your running game, and they would go away from him real quick. And then the Jamal Charles experiment with Devontae Booker there just didn't really do anybody any favors. So.
Yeah.
And they just had no resemblance of a passing game, or at least a consistent passing game to actually give them some balance. So he's going to see a lot of that 7, 8, 9-man boxes and
With a terrible offensive line.
offensive line. So it was uphill climbing from.
It'll be tough for him to find a worse situation if he gets any sort of decent volume in a new spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, by the way, same thing I tell everybody. It is a bar conversation. If you want to talk, just jump in. We're bad at calling on people. We're bad at taking turns. So,
all right.
That sounds good for me. I'm enjoying this spot. I'm usually the host. So, I like being right here. I'm just going to jump in.
And then for where do you want him to land?
Man,
Hmm.
Well, the Giants are in the market and intriguing, if only ever so slightly.
same with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, like any team that
Yeah.
that could use a good veteran running back. I mean, like even like Miami, I know that Drake's there, obviously, so it wouldn't be the ideal
And old man
spot.
Gore.
But Gase
You know,
loves CJ
Carolina's
Anderson.
an interesting option there to balance out.
Yes, that's true.
CMC? Yes, he is.
And one that I haven't heard, but they have the money and could use a good complement to the other back they just paid,
Colts?
San Francisco.
San Fran.
Yeah. I think everybody's also forgetting that Washington needs a back and has a little bit of cap space also.
I think
I mean,
think
they only
they're
have
gonna
12
draft.
options right now, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they pay somebody just because of they're kind of in a weird cap situation.
Well, they have 12 options, but none of them are good.
I'm glad you finally came off that Pirine train.
Well, I don't think he's fully
I'm
off
not,
it.
I'm not quite all the way off the Pirine train, but I'm about ready to jump.
Dad?
You just you just became Hopper's best friend.
Yeah, I was big on that Pete Ryan train.
All right, so that's all we got for the news. Let's go off and kick off the main segment today. 4-round mock draft for the 2018 rookies.
Actually forgot to make a new drop for this, so we're using the old one.
All right.
Fantasy mock draft.
Hey, guys, look! It's the real Buzz Lightyear!
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
I was kind of hoping you keep this one.
mean,
though.
that one's a
Actually,
classic.
I like this one.
Okay, we can keep that one. We just might
Until
get
you-
sued by Disney.
I was gonna
but-
say, until Sydney's like, hey, wait a minute. Sydney. Disney.
Disney.
Sydney.
Are you
Disney.
dyslexic?
Sydney from Disney.
Some days.
But I mean, if we're gonna keep that one, we should just probably fix the intro part to make that better quality. But I love the mocking part. That's
Okay,
great.
we can have this discussion later. I mean, yeah, I will re-record it using an actual microphone and not a webcam. That usually helps.
Like the webcam we record this on for video.
Yeah, no, it was a worse one than that.
All right, let's kick off round one. Matt was kind enough to put together the mock for us, and he was kind enough to suck up to the host and give me the number one overall pick. The order is going to go, I kick it off first, Dan is second, Matt third, and Hopper rounding it out at 4, and then we're just going to keep going through 48 picks in that order. We're going to try to give 30 seconds to a minute of conversation on each pick. I'm going to kick it off first, though, with the 101, real obvious pick. I'm taking Saquon Barkley. Don't have to talk about this too much.
I can't believe it. This is a reach. This is a
huge reach.
full reach.
He's almost 2 tiers above anybody else in this draft for where we have him
He
scored.
runs backwards so much. You can't gain, yards that way.
Never.
Is
It's
that
impossible.
Barkley? I've never even heard that name before.
He wasn't
Is
even
a-
on. He wasn't even on our draft board.
Wasn't he? Wasn't he a basketball player? Doesn't he like do studio shows for
Already-
TNT now?
Or you played lacrosse at some point.
All right, so enough joking about Barkley.
We really like him.
Yeah, he is almost as we
base.
said. He's almost a full point in our consensus rankings above
Yeah,
anybody
he's
else.
far and away the 101.
Yeah, it's you'd need like 102, 103 to try to move up to 101. I think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, second pick. This one should be a little bit more
This
interesting.
this one is hashtag landing spot matters, but because there's no landing spots yet, I'm gonna go with my number 2 overall player in here in this, Darius Geis. Goose, whatever you want to say.
Guys like rice.
Geis.
Goose.
Geis.
All right, do you want to say what you like about him, since he's a little bit less obvious than Barkley?
Well, he's a very strong runner, great vision. A little bit of injury concerns with him as well. For some reason, all the LSU running backs going to get hurt their final year there. Has some question marks as what he'll be as a pass catcher. But he's one of the strongest runners in this class. He might be a better overall pure runner than Barkley, but without the pass catching upside to him. Strong pick, and it should be a day 1, day 2, early day 2 pick.
Yeah, he flashed the ability to use some of those pass catching chops anyway. LSU just doesn't use their backs like that. But I think he'll
Exactly.
end up being better in that regard than Fournette was last year coming out of the same school.
I completely agree.
All right, on to the 103. Matt, you are on the clock.
I kind of bit myself in the butt here because I thought I'd be funny putting myself in front of Hopper, but 1-3 is probably one of the more difficult decisions early on in the draft. I flip-flop on this, and I'm going to go the opposite pick than I took when we did our mock drafts. I'm going to go Nick Chubb. I think he is the more complete back compared to Sony Michel. More of a 3-down back. I feel like I got to say it when I'm on this show, but, landing spot matters for both Chubb and Michel. But without knowing that, I want Chubb. I mean, absolute freak athlete. I think his combine proves that he's coming back from that just gruesome knee injury.
Well, congratulations. You did actually manage to snipe me because I am the lowest on the show on Sony Michel. I've got him faded, so...
You and I both have him down.
Yeah, Nick and I both have him down, so Chubb is actually clearly my 103. So
Same here now.
You did manage to snipe me on
I
that.
even moved them
Good.
ahead of
I feel like
Michelle.
I belong here. Nice.
Yeah, my 104 is not even a running back.
Mine isn't either. Do we have the same 104?
No, I think you have who
Oh.
you're going to take here.
Yeah.
I've got... Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make my pick. Do we have anything else to say on Chubb before I do this?
He's built like a 3-down back. He looks like he's considered to be a top prospect before the knee injury. He looks like he's back, and I think he's going to be really dynamic in the NFL.
Yep. So as we mentioned, Sony Michel's the popular pick here. Nick and I, and apparently Dan now too, also have faded Michel a bit. He tends to get tripped up a little bit in the open field. He's not as much of a sure thing. Doesn't look as good of a pure runner as Nick Chubb does, even though he has the pass catching upside. So I marched to the beat of my own drum a little bit. I'm going to break it up, and my 104 is actually a wide receiver. I'm going to take Cortland Sutton.
Yep.
Nice.
Love it. And if he goes to Dallas, it's going to happen.
Cortland Sutton has the most upside of any wide receiver in this draft. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he plays physical. The only real negative I had on him is he can be a little bit of a diva a la Des Bryant, but that doesn't hurt his on-field play. And it doesn't tend to show up off the field. So, ultimately, that's, to me, one of the only guys in this draft that has that kind of superstar it factor. Not in the draft, but as a wide receiver in this draft.
And then per Fantasy Football Show, or the guys from O'Donnell who do the player profiler, Cortland Sutton posted the highest agility score per size ever recorded. So, to go along with the speed, his 50-50 ability to win those, he's nimble. He can win both physically and with that finesse route running as he becomes a more complete receiver. This is a fantastic pick. Hopper.
Yeah, absolutely love Sutton. He is my 5th overall player. I'm going to take my 4th overall player, though, with the 5th pick. This is probably the safest wide receiver in the draft in DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
He is the safest wide receiver in the draft. Unlike Sutton, who's got more of the big, outside potential. Moore's a guy who worked intermediate a lot in college, but he does have a great athletic profile there where he could work down the field more. Great hands, good route runner, vacuum cleaner for... What are you looking at me like that for?
Oh, I was just letting you talk.
Oh.
I was listening intently.
He's a vacuum cleaner when it comes to actually being able to make catches. He sucks in the good way, I guess. A little off the rails there.
A little bit.
Never mind. But
He tries.
He's Sutton and Moore, I think, are pretty much 1-2 in some order in most people's rankings now.
They have-
And definitely ours.
yes, definitely ours.
But yeah, Moore, he checks all the boxes. Young breakout age. He's coming into the draft really young. Dominator rating above 50%. Produced at a school with a terrible passing game against big level competition. He basically is everything you want outside of prototypical X receiver build. That's the only thing he's missing. Matt, Dan, you're up.
So I want to go to my 104. I only moved Chubb up one spot ahead of Michelle. I'm thinking Sony and Michelle here. I tend to favor running backs more early on in my rookie drafts, just because I think they tend to be safer and they're easy, and they tend to give their value early on as opposed to receivers who could take a year or two, depending on #landing spots. But for Michelle, he'll be drafted right around the same area as Darius Geis, so team is going to invest heavily on him. Just like Geis, he does have the pass, some of that pass catching upside that we didn't get to see when he played for Georgia, and this offense that's more run heavy. I have faded Michelle slightly more because of his not so great combine numbers, but I do see a lot of upside with them. Like Chubb, he's got fantastic vision, smart runner. He's got enough speed to get around the edge, set the edge, and he's got enough smarts and wit to him that he can break and not
Wit, he's funny.
wit. Sure, maybe some
He's a
days.
funny guy.
He is a funny guy.
All right.
Good to talk to.
So that is the top 6. We went Barkley, Geis, Chubb, Sutton, Moore, and Michelle. 107, Matt, you are up.
All right. I know the popular pick here would probably be Calvin Ridley, but I'm pretty sure you guys agree with me that
He
That
should
would
not be a first round pick.
I'm going to pass on him. I'm a little higher on this guy than most, but I want Christian Kirk right here with the 1-7. Listen, sometimes in fantasy we get a little too into the high upside players. We want to, pick the best guy, the next breakout guy. I think Kirk is going to come in, make an immediate impact, play in the slot. If you're in PPR leagues, he's going to produce for you right off the bat. So at 1-7, I like that kind of production, and I'm going to play it safe with Christian Kirk.
Yeah, he's the best of a glut of slot receivers in this draft. He's super athletic. He's got some yards after the catch ability, very reliable hands, very good route runner. So he is one of the more sure things.
And he produced with a really bad quarterback system in Texas A&M against good competition. My only concern with him is his combine came in a little worse than I was hoping, but he still should be at least a solid slot receiver.
And if he lands at with a team that needs that immediate production from a slot position, he could end up being the highest producing receiver year one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not a bad spot to take at the back, at this mid to late first round.
Mm-hmm.
Hopper?
All right, this is going to leave me open to take probably my favorite target running back in this draft. That's going to be Royce Freeman.
Yep,
you knew that was coming, didn't you? Anybody
we all knew this was
Anybody
coming.
that listens to the show regularly or is in the FFD 260 mock drafts with me knew this one was probably coming.
That's how his ADP got so high.
Yeah,
It was basically Hopper and me.
pretty much. Royce Freeman's a guy that he's one of two players in the last 10 years in FCS school. Bigger ones? FCS or FBS?
FBS.
He was G5.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. He was Power 5, yeah.
It was Power 5, yeah. So from a Power 5 conference, and even any of the bigger conferences, really, he's one of two people that had over 5,500 career rush yards with 800-plus career receiving yards. The other one's Donnell Pumphrey, but the difference between him and Donnell Pumphrey is 3 inches and about 50 pounds. So he's a big back. He's built a lot like Le'Veon Bell. He's got a lot of similar traits as far as his ability to catch passes, his vision, his ability to make cuts, find holes, run smooth.
Yep. If you want to hear more of Hopper's love for Royce Freeman, check out the Football Garbage Time podcast from Monday, April 16th for similar commentary.
Yep. Or running back previews.
Or
Part one.
many other episodes.
Yeah, running back part
many
one.
more to go.
Any place else I get to talk about rookies.
Okay, so we're up at pick 9 here. I am going to draft another wide receiver in this position. It's my third wide receiver on the board. I am going to take Michael Gallup, who I actually think is probably the most likely to produce year one over Christian Kirk.
I'm right there with you. And
Well-
this is the other guy whose ADP is probably high because of us.
Yeah,
Hashtag landing spot matters.
I've started taking him in like the 9th pick in a lot of drafts.
That's
now.
where I've been getting
God,
him to.
man, if he goes to Dallas,
I've been getting him a lot of high second, late first.
But yeah, he's a guy who's been rising up my boards. I can find very little to fault in his game outside of he's not quite that. He's not 6'3", he's only 6'1", and he's not 220, he's 205, and he's not a freak athlete, but he's good athlete. He's got decent size to him, and everything else about him checks a box. He also had to work his way up from a JUCO to Colorado State and then just crushed everything. He put up as much production in 2 years as a lot of players do in their entire career before going to the NFL.
it's insane. And he did it against good competition. I believe his game against Alabama, he
was
dominated.
crushing corners who are going to the NFL.
He is he's one of the best route runners in this class. He knows how to find the soft spots and zones. He's got fantastic hands. Just like Nick said, though, his limitation is going to be maybe his athleticism, but even then, so.
He may not have wide receiver 1 upside, but I would be shocked if he's not at least a low 2, high 3.
Yep.
Pick 10, Dan, you're up.
I'm going to continue the running back trend. I'm going to go with my RB4 here, and that's or RB5, and that's Rashad Penny.
Not surprised.
Little controversial in that he's just like the rest of the running backs around this area. Is that does he have the pass catching upside? He's a horrible pass blocker, but a lot of these things can be fixed when you get into the NFL with the coaching there. Runs a little bit upright, but he's one of the better runners in this draft class. Fantastic. He's built to play that 3-down role. He'll have the draft capital to probably land in a spot that he can at least win in camp, if not just outright take it. And I tend to take running backs early, so it's my pick.
Yeah, I'm off Penny. the few of his red flags he has, like the worst blocking I've ever seen.
He is a revolving door in pass protection.
And that upright running style just scare me. So he's actually fallen out of my first round.
No.
He has not fallen all the way out of my first round. He's actually about right here for me.
This is great value. Potential great value.
It is. No, it is
So-
great value. The upside's huge. You can fix upright running style and some of the things that are wrong with him. So
And then Matt, that's sigh or gasp I heard. Was that a one of relief or one of disappointment?
That was one of relief because I thought Dan was going to take my guy when he said running back. So
oh no,
Who'd you
you're
think I was
you're
gonna
going to take
take?
the guy that I'm looking at, aren't you?
yeah, you know who I'm taking.
Mm-hmm.
This is a situation where you need to know who you're drafting with because you might be able to wait a little bit later on this guy. Yeah, you could just highlight him. You don't have to bounce around. There you go. But John Kelly is my man. Take your guy. Now I'm gonna admit my SEC bias here. I am a graduate of the University of Tennessee. Got to see John Kelly play. Listen, this guy, he's got good size for a running back coming in at 5'10", 216. He runs very well between the tackles, and he stood out. If you watched him last season in particular, which was his junior and final season at the University of Tennessee, he stood out early in the season, particularly in a just horrible Butch Jones offense. I mean, he's wasted running back talent year after year with Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara. And so for John Kelly to stand out in that system, it shows a lot for me. He runs well between the tackles, and I think he's a huge value. I've actually seen him go up and up this offseason, which is a little disappointing for me.
Yeah,
because I want
we've
the
been
value.
driving that a little
We
bit
love John Kelly.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Kamara traits to him.
His balance through contact it's up there with. I'm not sure if it's as elite as Kamara, so if we'll continue to translate to that to the NFL, but it's
good.
fantastic.
And he
Yeah,
runs
he
hard.
runs over defenders.
Yeah, I think he's not afraid to blow open his own hole was the exact note I had on him, or one of them.
too. I'm not even sure what that means.
I'm just going to leave it alone.
It's like a grenade. It's got a little Katy Perry. No wait,
He came in like a wrecking
that
ball.
grenade song. That's Miley Cyrus.
Grenade was Bruno,
Bruno
Mars.
Mars.
They're all the same person.
He'll throw a John Kelly for
Yeah,
you.
they're both the same. Yeah, he'll catch a John Kelly for me.
Well, his nickname is now Grenade, thanks to Hopper.
Yep.
That's fine. That's a good nickname.
It kind of
I like.
matches. I like it.
Boom,
Yes.
boom, Kelly.
All right, Hopper, you're up with the 12th pick.
Okay. So the guy I'm gonna take, I'm gonna go running back here again. There were some question marks around this combine performance, or should I say pro day performance, because he hurt himself at the combine. It's gonna be Ronald Jones out of USC. So he looks quick on tape. He looks shifty. He has put on a little bit of weight, I believe. So
Yeah, he's up to almost 210 now.
which is good for him because he was a little bit undersized, but he's put on weight, which is going to help him between the tackles. He was fast. He showed good burst. Now, the controversy I mentioned is that at his pro day, he was clocked anywhere from high 4.4s, if you believe USC, to what was it, 4.6?
4.56,
4.56, 4.57 if you're looking at believing the scout in the stand holding a stopwatch. But he did say it was only 80%, and I find those 4.56, 4.57s hard to believe because he ran a 4.6 at the combine, and he pulled his hamstring halfway through and pulled up. But he looks a lot faster on tape. He looks like he's dynamic. He may be relegated to change of pace and passing downs, but he's got so much big playability, and if he continues to add weight, he's going to be a 3-down back. He's got the skill set. So I'm going to go with Ronald Jones here.
Yeah, can't hate it at all. He'd be one of two players I'd be looking at that spot. Thankfully, you can't take two players with one pick, so I get the other guy I was looking at, and I'm going to grab the first tight end in this draft with Dallas Goedert. Or Goddard, sorry. not Gal
Wow.
Gadot. Dallas Goedert, though, out of South Dakota State, so go Jackrabbits. I love their uniforms and logos. But on tape, he was just crushing people in the blocking game. He shows the ability to run out of multiple positions on the field, including doing tight end jet sweeps for touchdowns. He goes up and gets the ball high. He's not quite as athletic as Gesicki, but I think he's a much better all-around tight end, and I think he's going to be a better long-term player in this league.
I'm just really surprised to see a tight end go at the 2-1.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's just. But I guess it's based on what you're looking for. My big concern is that he looked good as a blocker against FCS competition, the jump from FCS to the NFL edge rushers, even blitzing safeties and corners, worries me a little bit because he didn't stand out tremendously as a blocker, but a lot of that is because he's such a good pass catcher. Like this guy, I think he will be fantastic, but you don't see that production from a tight end year one. Unless you get that luck from it.
I'm not drafting him at the 2-1 to produce year one. I'm drafting him because I think he is going to be a stud tight end.
And even if he can't block, worst case scenario, you've got a Jimmy Graham type of move tight end because Jimmy Graham could never freaking block either.
No,
and he
that's more
already looks like a better
Yeah.
blocker.
Yep.
I like him. I'm not. I wouldn't take a tight end this early.
I wouldn't either, but
especially with some of the running backs.
I
and
do
receivers
like him,
left.
but I wouldn't do it at the 2-1 if it were me.
My grade would have put him
If you look at depth, though, the way that we're working in fantasy football right now, I don't have a problem taking the tight end early second round if you need that on your team.
But a lot of it is that, at least with me, is that like, if he doesn't produce for his first 2 years, you can get him for cheaper. So you can take your running back receiver, let someone take that tight end early, and maybe get lucky and you get him in a sneak
It's
trade.
the ability of tight ends to produce year one, which doesn't happen all that often for me.
So
Yeah.
if you're taking my advice here and taking Dallas in the early part of the second round, don't trade him after 2 years and if he doesn't produce right away.
I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying it's just by value.
Yeah,
Just where it is.
If you're taking him here, take it because you love him and you're planning on holding him till either you're sure he's a bust or he breaks out.
Yep.
Yeah.
2-2, Dan, you're up.
I'm going to take, I think, the last running back that I have, a decently high grade on, and that's going to be Kerryon Johnson here. I think this is fantastic value for a guy. He's got some durability concerns. The way that he runs, a lot like Rashad Penny, he runs upright for a bigger body. He had durability issues last year, which was his on and off real breakout year. But he shows that tremendous upside, great vision, good pass catcher. I think he had 55 career receptions with, for Auburn, and he has the size to boost a 3-down back type of role. I just love that value with, in this early second where you're looking for a potential kind of safe running back with tremendous upside.
Yeah, I got to agree. The knock on Kerryon Johnson, he had some injury concerns. He gets beat up a decent amount, strains, pulls. He's very, very marginally tiniest bit undersized. But overall, the skill set's definitely there. The ability's definitely there.
Yep.
He's a guy that could come in and be a 3-down back. He's just a little bit more fringe than some of the guys that went above him.
Yep.
But I love Kerryon Johnson. And like you, he was my last running back kind of in these top couple tiers.
Yep.
All right. I'm up.
Yep.
You're up at 2-3.
Just making sure. All right. I like a challenge when it comes to pronunciation. So at 2-3, I'm taking
Speaking to the guy who can't say
St.
anything.
Brown. I usually just go with EQSB. Which, by the way, I feel like that's a real debate that no one's talking about. Is it EQSB or just ESB? I've heard both.
It's ESB or just EQ.
Yeah, I go with ESB.
so-
Because it's also the name of a beer.
Yep.
I'm just doing too much here. All right. But either way.
Or you could try to pronounce his entire name.
Equimonious St. Brown.
Equanimous. You were
Damn it,
close.
that was so close.
Equiminius,
Equiminius
Tristan
Saint-
Hotep J. St. Brown.
Okay, Nick, don't need to show off now.
Was it Hotep? I thought it was Hodol or something the other day.
I think it's Hotep or Emo Hotep or something like that.
It was Emo Hotep. That's what it was.
Either way,
Equanimous,
no
Emo
matter how you
Hotep.
say it, you're getting a guy who's coming in at 6'5", 214, 215 pounds, and is very quick. Ran a 4.48, I believe, or a 4.48 40 time. And I think he shows up even better on tape. So I love EQSB, ESB. Kind of fall in love with watching his game. So I love him early second round. I think it's a great value.
He's one of my favorite receivers in this draft. Launch strides. He's very versatile. He can play inside, outside. If he can land in an offense that can produce some high volume, he could be a very good number 2 who could take over a number 1 spot.
Are you suggesting his landing spot matters?
Sometimes, every once in a while, hashtag landing spot matters.
I'm not putting it back on the screen. I don't have real estate.
All right, we're through 15 picks, and my top 15 players have gone chalk almost. So
That's actually I've
That's how
got
it's supposed to be,
one
Nick.
guy left in my top 15.
all right, well, I'm assuming you're taking him here at 2-4.
I sure am. Calvin Ridley. I'm going to stop the slide. So I'm not high on Ridley as other people are. He's, I think, my wide receiver 5. I don't know what his ability to play outside is going to be, but he is a good route runner. He does have solid hands. He did show up good on tape, even though his combine wasn't quite where you wanted
Up to snuff.
Up to snuff or where you wanted it to be. Worst case scenario, I think that he's a good slot receiver. Best case scenario, he becomes a wide receiver 2-3 fringe guy on the outside. I don't think that he completely fails when he gets to the NFL level, so I'm going to go ahead and take him here.
He is going to produce early, especially. He's going to be drafted fairly high. You're talking first round.
He's going to have opportunity, which is going to matter the first couple of years.
Which is what's going to matter. He's almost like this year's Sterling Shepard. He's the older receiver, great route runner, can create separation very well, has decent hands, and should contribute early on.
Yep.
So I just want to point out, though, that Sterling Shepard, as of right now, is actually still slightly younger than Calvin Ridley.
But he was an older receiver. That's where that.
Okay.
That's where the initial production comes in, though, too.
Yep.
I mean, age doesn't scare me as much as it does you short term.
All right. So I'm going to pick my 16th player here right on the nose, and that is Anthony Miller out of Memphis, a player who has been rising
He has my heart.
up the boards for me. He is an older receiver as well, which is why I have him ranked here pretty close to Ridley. They're actually in the same tier together. But I thought Miller's tape was more dynamic. He showed more for me. He's got fantastic hands. His one-handed catch I made a gif of and threw on Twitter was just amazing, that he just doing the falling back to his side catch.
He's so tremendous.
He's just got something about him too that makes you just throw on his tape and go, damn, that is awesome. Killed his pro day. So he's got exactly what I want. I'm happy taking him here at 16.
He's he runs with such aggression to him. It's like watching Steve Smith play again, where he's a smallish receiver. He's 5'11", and he doesn't have the size to play outside, but he can and he will win because he can win in all 3 levels. Great downfield threat, has the route running to win short, has decent enough hands, and he's gonna end up being a day 2 pick, so he's gonna have that draft capital with him.
Good at high pointing the football, too.
Yep.
Yes.
Just to throw that on
And he
top.
did it with a terrible quarterback in Riley Ferguson.
Fuck him.
Dan, you're up at 2-6.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Myler Darling of the draft, and as a wide receiver, this is where I think upside starts to matter a little bit more for me, and that's gonna be Traquan Smith.
I wasn't sure which draft crush you were going with.
Leaves mine open for me.
So I'm a huge Traquan Smith man. He's 6'2", as 33 and 3/8 arm length, which is 66th percentile in terms of size for his size like that. And again, he's this is a guy that has that tremendous upside to him. He does this little jump thing too much when he catches it, which obviously pissed off me when I watched that tape. But he's great at high pointing the football. He's got the long arms to win on the outside. He's a decent enough route runner to win on all 3 levels, and this is a tremendous spot for him, in my opinion.
All right. Anything else on Traquan Smith?
Nope, he covered it.
Matt, you're up at the 2-7.
I feel great about putting Dan right in front of me because he just does a terrible job at sniping me, and I love it. Because when you were
probably
saying,
a good thing.
you told me upside matters, and it was a guy that you fell in love with in the draft, and I thought you were describing DJ Shark because that's what he is for me. 6'3", 4.3, 4.40 time. He's quick off the line. He creates space, and he accelerates well down the field. LSU, another school that just I think.
Are you L. Davis?
We brought it up in the last pod. They just don't use their wide receivers.
They don't know how to use any
don't.
talent.
Yeah, so I'm taking DJ Shark. I love him right there.
I was waiting for you to actually say that's I'm taking because you're just you're going over him I think he's taking him.
He had said it once.
I'm just gonna describe him and then go with Callaway.
It'd be a fun, it'd be a fun guessing game to just describe players and try to guess who people were taking.
Yeah, I was actually describing Mason Rudolph. Does that sound right?
I didn't hear anything about piss poor arm strength, but
Yeah, that would have been my red flag.
I don't know what DJ Shark's arm strength is like.
And actually, he did throw a pass in the tape we watched.
Yeah, I didn't have that much to grade him effectively though.
All right.
Thought he was a little off balance. Footwork was a little wonky.
Hopper, you are up at 2-8.
All right, so as long we're doing draft crushes here, so I'm going to get to take mine. This is a guy that athletically profiles like Mike Evans, pretty close to him. He's big-bodied, 6'5", runs a 4.55 40, which was the best of the big-bodied wide receivers in this draft. Great ball control, great body control, high points footballs. He does good route runner. Overall, if there's a big receiver in this draft that's going to succeed, I think it is this guy. I'm going to go with Alan Lazard.
Yeah, we love him. That's not that much.
You
of a
said
shock.
all, yeah. Like you just covered all of it.
Oh, yeah.
You did such a great job.
I was doing the hype man stuff.
And you also basically gave the same speech yesterday, too. So I've heard this a bunch.
And on the wide receiver episode.
It did sound a little familiar.
Yeah, it was about the same one. I've rehearsed that in the mirror in the morning when I'm getting ready.
If you don't get Lazard in one of your Dynasty leagues, you're going to be pissed.
I'm going to cry.
All right.
That's why you're shelling out for the draft picks in the auction league.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. 2-9, I am up, and I'm actually going to grab another tight end here because this is about as far as I want to see Mike fall.
You guys are on a first-name basis now?
Yep.
Sarah.
So
you best
Mr.
friends with Mike
Gesicki?
Gesicki?
Mike Gesicki out of Penn State, absolute freak athlete. He has the most upside of any tight end in this draft. And at this point, late in the second round, I'm absolutely happy taking him. I think he's going to be a producer early on as a move tight end. He needs to develop his blocking to become a dominant, true tight end threat where he can get on the field every single play. But I expect him to start producing as early as late year 1, early year 2 with his ability to catch the football and be an athletic threat.
This is your Jimmy Graham. Like, this is about as close as you're going to get to it. And this is my number one tight end in this tight end class. His upside is fucking tremendous. And when you have a guy who can win, like he was an all-star, like all-state, all-pro, all-conference basketball player and football player. This guy just wins whatever he does that he wins at.
Plus, he can jump
He's like
over his
DJ
quarterback.
Khaled. All he does is win. Like, I love Mike
I was
Gesicki.
waiting for you to go with more all things, all of that, all on the family, all together now.
Wow, DJ
It's a
Khaled,
good-
that's a good player comp right there. Yeah.
He is a little bit bigger, right? No.
And he jumped over his quarterback, which you should get bonus
I
points
love
for that.
that.
DJ Khaled.
I love it.
All right, Dan, you are up at the 23rd or 210.
So I want to go with the most controversial player amongst the three of us. I think this is a great spot for him, and that's Kalen Ballage. This is a back into the second round.
This is not a great spot for him because
is
you're
a-
drafting him.
This is a great spot for him in terms of risk to reward here. This is when you want to start doing your true risk reward type of plays. He's a third
AKA
down.
wasting picks.
He's a third down
I'll let you
satellite.
go now.
He's a third down satellite back with a third down back type of body. So he's got that upside to him. That's three down back range, but he's more of a third down back satellite type of player right now. I know that was really weird. Tongue twister apparently.
You also said he had a third down back kind of body.
I meant to say three down back type of body. At 6'1", I think he's 228. So he's got that upside to him. He needs to work on how to be an actual runner between the tackles, but at least he has the pass catching upside. I don't necessarily disagree with Hopper on the reasons why he hates him, and he wants to
okay.
jump on
It's
him
okay.
so bad. So
No,
I'm gonna
you
let
need to keep talking for a minute. Nick, go ahead on Valage. I want to pull something up.
I mean, my issues with Ballage, he puts his head down when he's running between the tackles. He's got bad vision. He seems to really struggle when he doesn't have a clear running lane. And he primarily was used effectively as a pass catching back, which he's very, very good at that. But I have not seen a lot of 228-pound pass catching backs make major fantasy impacts in the NFL.
because you haven't really seen too many
Unless they
pass
can-
catching backs that size. So.
Unless they can also do something in between the tackles.
Hey, hold on. I'm still looking.
Are you pulling up the list? We try. When you
Listen,
start
we
yelling
need to
out
fill some
players.
time here. I'm going to back Dan up. I think it's a little early for Ballage, but I do like his upside. He does have to learn how to use his body and run in between the tackles, be a little bit stronger of a back. But I like his upside. It's good intangible, size and speed. It's a good combination. And we know when it comes to fantasy value, pass catchers are worth a lot.
So, hey, Matt. Stop me when
Oh, this
no.
again.
Stop me when you've heard a guy that you know of.
Deja vu.
Okay? This is a list of guys that have more than 400 rush attempts, under 2,000 yards, and under 4.5 yards per carry in their college career. Keep in mind, Kalen Ballage also had 25% of his touchdown productivity come in one game. He's had one season over 1,000 scrimmage yards. You ready for this list?
All right, here we go.
John Wolford.
Nope.
Alonzo Smith.
Nope.
Arkeel Newsome.
You know what? I think I might have gone to elementary school with a guy with that name.
Might be the same guy. Taquan Mazzell, who I did find out about because he's apparently like the Bears' 6th running back or something like that.
Hey, that matters.
Tyler Jones, Dearness Johnson, Lawan Hunt, John Hilleman, and Deshaun Watson. There's probably
go.
one most people have heard of.
I know
But
that one.
your running back producing like a quarterback, probably not the best idea. He gets slow to the edge. He gets tripped up easy. I hate him. Aside from Auden Tate, I hate Kalen Ballage more than I hate anybody else in this draft.
And I love it.
Okay, I'm good. I got that out of my system.
All right.
Matt, your pick.
All right, I've done my due diligence. I've waited long enough. It's got to be the first quarterback off the board here at 211, and it's my real draft crush,
Josh Allen?
Lamar Jackson.
That's close.
So who did you mention that you were bumping the ADP up on earlier? Gallup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely me with FFD's rookie mocks.
Yeah, Gallup and Freeman are the two that I think the 2 to 3 of us
He's
are
saying
driving up heavy.
he bumps Jackson up.
I know.
Yeah, bumped Jackson all the way up on those ADP.
I'm doing my best to counteract
I'm
you.
a sucker for a pass rushing quarterback.
Pass rushing quarterback.
I'm not the
Yeah,
only
he
one that
really
messes
rushed a
up.
lot.
All right, perfect.
Lamar Jackson sacks himself
when
a
he
lot.
gets sacks as well as rushing touchdowns, it's just the best combination.
If you're playing in an IDP league,
Doesn't even have to be IDP. If he counts towards the defense, just make sure you have another team draft him's defense. If he sacks himself, it counts.
He's the Otani of fantasy football. You can just but seriously, what he can do with his legs as well as his arm. I think one of the most underrated qualities of Lamar Jackson is his leadership skill, his mentality. I buy into that a lot more than other people do, which is why I'm not a huge fan of Sam Bradford. But I am a big fan of Lamar Jackson. He, I believe, is going to jump in and contribute to a team right away.
I assume you
And
meant Sam Darnold, right?
what's that?
You said Sam Bradford.
Oh, Baker Mayfield. Wow, that wasn't even close.
I mean,
Baker
they're both
Mayfield is
Oklahoma
the quarterback
quarterbacks.
that I am not a fan of. I'm just struggling with Lamar Jackson, so I'm just going to let Hopper take this over.
I mean, if you get fantasy points for character, then Zeke is no longer a first-round pick, and that's all I'm going to say there.
Or Joe Mixon.
Or Joe Mixon. So this next guy, I would have expected him to go by now because he seems to be getting pumped up a lot in the fantasy community, but I'm going to take Dante Pettis. He's a taller receiver, a little bit thinner, but he's super dynamic. He's a great returner. He can run deep. He can catch deep passes. He has great yard ability after the catch. And the real concern I have with Pettis is it's just really a small frame. Other than that, I mean, he can polish up the route running a bit, but I think the raw talent's there. And like Dan mentioned with Ballage, I know I gave him crap for it, but this is where you're going to take your shots. And Pettis is a guy who I really thought flashed on tape. He had a good combine. Well, no, he didn't do much of the combine, did he?
His pro day.
His pro day. He had a good pro day. And he's a guy that, you know, I've been high on ever since I first watched his tape, and then I cooled it off a little bit. But I still like him as a player. I like his ability, his dynamicness as a returner is going to keep him on a team, keep him on the field. So, yeah, I'm going with Dante.
All right. I can't hate on that, though I was surprised one other player didn't go
Yeah, me
before
too.
that. But it's time for a beer review in the middle of the 2-round break.
Let the suspense kill us all.
Oh, crap. There it is.
Beer review.
It was covered up by Matt's name.
It is way too strong for how like sweet. and
11.5%. I'm gonna turn that again because this is not drink like 11.5%. I'll tell you that much.
Nope, 2 of these will get you fucked.
I'm
I
feeling it
think
already,
one,
and I'm
I
at
think, I
one.
think
One
one might
might.
get you fucked.
It's really strong, but it is so sweet and has such good flavor. There's hardly any alcohol taste to it at all. They did
Just a little hint at the back end.
Yep, a little bit at the back end. The vanilla and the almond really stick out. Like it tastes like I'm biting into a biscotti, like an almond biscotti.
Well done, Evil Twin. I think we've liked everything they've had, right?
Yes.
Because they did even more Cocoa Jesus and one other one we had, right?
Yep.
More Cocoa. I love that name.
Yeah, so good job, Evil Twin. This is fantastic. And good job, Twitter voters. Not that M43 is a bad beer. It's also really good, but
We'll get that on soon.
we'll get that on soon. But yeah, you did a good job picking for us tonight.
I will say as well. Because plus, they kind of want us messed up a little bit for the third and fourth round here.
Right.
Get us reaching on shit.
For sure.
All right. And how was your Blood Orange from Dogfish Head?
Listen, I'm gonna go with the unsophisticated answer and say if I drink an IPA, it's got to be good because I'm normally not a fan of it. So it doesn't suck.
Good.
That is our goal here, to not suck.
That's a Dan review. We call those Dan reviews.
Because these guys say so much and they sound so smart.
Oh,
And if I start talking, it just ruins everything.
Why doesn't that philosophy stand when we're talking about players?
Specifically one player.
Yeah.
I gave some hate on them too.
No, you gave good counterpoints to what I'm saying, and I think that that's part of what we do well is we get
Yeah.
both sides of an argument, and it's more fun when we disagree. In my
I like
opinion.
debating.
Okay. Shall we jump in
I want
round
to be
three?
a master debater
Yep.
someday.
Oh, what?
Well, there is a really obvious pick
I
here,
already am that thing you
There's
just
two
said.
obvious picks here, I think.
but I have him one spot behind another player, so I'm going to have to...
Come on, Nick, tell us. What is the suspense? It's killing me.
I got to grab Mark Walton here.
That would be my pick.
Oh, yeah, no, not mine.
Mark Walton, I love his 2016 tape. He's a great runner between the tackles. He's a great pass catcher. Unfortunately, he was hampered by an ankle injury, and that's kind of crushed his draft stock, but I think he's going to go higher than people expect in the NFL draft, and he's a player I'm very, very high on. Check out Football Garbage Times podcast, where I also gave him some praise yesterday.
Or check out our running back part 2 episode where we go
More in depth on him.
More in depth on him. I've gone more lukewarm on him. I rewatched some of his 16 tape and I moved him up my boards.
All right.
Dan?
Pick 2, Dan, you are up.
I'm gonna let the slide stop on James Washington because
Nope.
holy shit! I mean, we're all fairly low on him compared to most of the draft community, but this is where your upside trumps a lot of things too. He's going to be drafted high enough to where he should be used right away. He was one of the better wide receivers in one-on-one drills during the Senior Bowl practice week, so that does kind of help reduce the amount of hate on him as him. In terms of beating press coverage, he can win downfield. He's very effective at that. He's one of the best in terms of stacking a defender. And problem with it is that we just don't know what kind of receiver he's going to be in the NFL. He doesn't have the route,
a wide one.
a wide one. Some days,
Yeah.
maybe a slim one. Who knows?
Yeah, I have him and Walton in the same tier. Just Walton, I have one spot
Yeah.
ahead. So
I would agree with you there.
it was just a bunch of other players got grabbed that I had lower than both. All right.
That's what happens when you have them one above the other too.
Matt,
some days.
you're up.
All right. I'm going to go Hayden Hurst. I'm going to take the next tight end off the board here. I think he deserves to be the third tight end off the board ahead of Andrews. So let's just keep burying him. That'll make me feel good.
I haven't watched Hurst yet, so
More athletic tight end, which I like about him. He has the ability to catch the ball in the short game and then down the midfield as well. The big downside with him is he's coming in a little bit older. He tried to play professional baseball, so he spent, I think, 2 years in the minors.
How'd that work out?
He's playing football
he
now.
is playing football, so not great.
Not as good as it did for Jeff Samard's job. Huh?
But what I like about he looked good, and he made USC look good when they had no business looking good in the SEC East last year. So I am a fan of Hayden Hurst.
All right. I don't have really anything to add because I actually have not gotten to his tape yet. But Hopper, I think you're the only one who's watched him.
Yeah, I've watched him, and everything that Matt said is correct. The only reason that I have him knocked down a little bit more is he's not a great blocker to me. He's dynamic as a pass catcher, but he also didn't have like the completeness as far as route and working the seam and everything. But I mean, he's got all the athletic ability. He can catch footballs. I can see why people are high on him. I'm just not quite as high on him because I think that the lack of ability to pass block and stuff is going to keep him off the field. There's actually another guy I like more than Hayden Hurst, but Hayden Hurst is in my top 4 tight ends.
Okay. Well, who is your pick?
So I'm going to call an audible here. This is about the part where based on how this draft is unfolding, that I think he should go, but I'm going to take from my mind, the best quarterback on the board. I'm going to go ahead and get Baker Mayfield here. Accurate passer. I think he's the most accurate passer in the draft. He's not going to be drunk when he's playing, so he should be able to scramble away from people better than he can scramble away from a police officer.
Most likely not.
So he's got pinpoint accuracy. He's a leader. He plays with swagger. He plays with fire. Great mechanics, arm strength. The ball just zips out of his hands. He's got everything that I want to see in a quarterback. Size be damned, it doesn't matter. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson have shown us that. So Baker Mayfield is, for my money, the best quarterback in this draft, and I'm going to go ahead and get him here in the mid-third round where I think he should go.
He is my pure man crush. I fucking love that man.
All right, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't hate on Baker Mayfield here. So I'm going to give the opposite side of that, and I'll keep it tame.
Where's the
I
mute
think
button
he
at?
looked good because of the offense he played in. I think it set him up to look good. And I think being undersized, I understand we have Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, but how many more examples do we have of that not
Steve
working
Young.
out well? So.
It's Steve Young. I can go back.
Doug Flutie?
Doug Flutie.
Yeah, I wouldn't
So,
lead with that.
I have a question,
I
actually.
didn't. He
and
was fourth.
I know.
So I have a question, and I've never gotten this. Honest question for everybody here. The argument of, they created an offense to where he would look good and could succeed. What NFL coach comes in and says, I'm going to put together an offense that makes my quarterback look like crap?
Dirk Cutter.
Or to where he
What
can't
NFL
succeed.
team plays a competition that makes them look better than Oklahoma in the Big 12? And I'm not blaming Baker Mayfield.
The NFC East. Or sorry, the AFC East.
There you go.
Oh, I was like, well,
My
come
bad.
on.
Yeah, no, the Patriots and the AFC East.
Oh, yeah. But that's pretty much what we're looking at. And so I don't know. Maybe Baker lands in New England, but I don't think that's going to happen.
The Steelers in the AFC North half the time. The Packers in the NFC North for God knows how long.
Fucking Christ.
We can just keep going.
I'm talking Big
Maybe
12.
Rodgers gets so pissed off he actually doesn't sign a contract extension and leaves. I can hope. We all can hope here.
I mean, look, Sam Bradford came out of the same school and has made more money as a quarterback.
That's a good point.
I have no problem with Mayfield. He looks great on tape, and he looks like a significantly better passer against the same defenses that I see a lot of issues in Mason Rudolph's game. So
What was the last good Oklahoma quarterback?
Sam Bradford when his knees weren't ripped up.
Right. So who was the last good Oklahoma quarterback?
Define good, because
Well,
I
Sam
don't
Bradford-
put injury in with good, right? So you can't
That's
control
fair.
that you
That's
get
fair.
that you can't control whether or not you get hurt. You can control how you perform when you're healthy. And Sam Bradford, when he's healthy, is a good NFL quarterback. He just is never healthy.
Landry Jones, Jason White. Yeah.
Landry Jones has had a successful career holding the clipboard behind Ben Roethlisberger.
Listen, Landry Jones needs to step aside because it's Josh Dobbs' turn to be number 2 in
You
Pittsburgh. All right?
never. Josh Dobbs
Holy-
is the Sam Cassell of the NFL, and that he is ugly as sin.
That's
Sorry to Josh Dobbs' mom. If,
Rocket
she's listening.
scientist.
Matt Patricia.
I mean, Mayfield's going to be the 4th Oklahoma quarterback taken since 2000 in the draft. That's it.
Yeah.
So, and there's not a lot of examples here, but there's a lot of schools who don't produce a ton of quarterbacks. They also
USC has had like 8 quarterbacks,
and most of them
and
suck.
all
Most
of
of
them
them have not been
besides.
good.
So
I think
true.
all of them besides
Palmer.
Palmer. Itch
Yeah.
before he blew out his knee, and his 1 year with the Cardinals.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't put any stock on necessarily where they played. They have to perform as well as I can expect them to perform in that offense, which Mayfield did.
I just think Baker's just special. I mean, he's had to walk on 2 different colleges and earn his spot, and through all the adjusted metrics from just the basic stats he succeeds in, from all the adjusted stats he succeeds
I
in.
started a debate.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's good though.
All right.
We like debates.
Listen, I
here.
do realize I'm lower on Baker than most. So
Yeah.
I do acknowledge that.
No, that's good though.
Well, moving on to my equivalent of the Ballage Man crush, a guy who I think can be a 3-down back.
Oh,
Bo?
Bo Scarborough.
You bet. You don't know Bo.
You don't know Bo.
You don't know Bo.
Killed the combine, flashed on tape. He's a top-tier recruit coming out of high school. Produced enough at Alabama that I think a team's going to give him a look in probably the 4th round. And he's built like a 3-down back, and he showed pass-catching chops at Alabama too. So I think he's a guy who you can grab in the 3rd round and can possibly do it all. He might be one of the few home run swings you have this late in the draft.
Yep, this is where you want to take your home run picks.
Indeed. All right, Dan.
Oh, it's me. It's right.
Yeah.
Yes, if no one has anything to add on that.
This is a good spot for quarterbacks at this point. I'm going to go with Sam Darnold here. We'll do our quarterback runs. This is a good spot for most one quarterback leagues. This is where you want to start taking your top quarterback picks here. No matter where he lands, he may start year 1, he may not. Either way, he's got probably the highest upside in this draft class. He's built for the position, 6'4". What is he, 220, 225?
He's young.
He's young.
Great arm.
He's got a lot of things to work with. Fantastic arm.
Good
his
athleticism.
inconsistency with his decision making. He's got good athleticism. He can scramble like what you want to see from your quarterbacks, and he can at least throw on the run. His decision making is a little suspect at times, but this is a lot of his weaknesses you can fix with good coaching, and hopefully does not land with the Browns where it doesn't happen that way.
All right. I have nothing to add. He's my number 1 quarterback. If he had fallen to 3-9, he would have been in consideration for my pick.
He's my number 2.
Yep.
Matt, you're up.
All right, I'm going to go Deion Kane. I think he's the last of the wide receivers that I really like, still on the board. Out of Clemson, a nice deep threat guy, red zone target at 6'4". I think he looks smooth when he's running. And I don't think he's the best of the wide receiver class, but with who's left, I like him right there.
It's your home run swing area, so it makes sense. Yep. I'm not necessarily high on Kane, but I can see the upside. I can see the things to like about him, and this is the area where you're taking your guys that you like. So
Yep.
Yeah, my only thing I'd say about him is he was one of the worst players after the catch I've watched, so hopefully that's something somebody can coach him out of.
Well, yeah, you just throw it to him in the end zone. Don't let him run after he catches it.
yep.
Just stop right there.
Hopper, you're up at 3-8.
All right, I'm gonna pull the trigger here because they're swinging for home runs. I'm gonna go ahead and take Justin Watson.
Yeah.
He is not on your list. He is a guy that Prospect Success Indicator loves. If you want to know what that means, be sure to go back and listen to Monday's episode where we had Miguel join
Dynasty
us.
Guru
Dynasty Guru FF. Join us and discuss that. But this is who that metric says is going to be the biggest breakout wide receiver or the most likely to succeed. He's a guy that put up multiple 1,000-yard seasons. He's smart. He's from an Ivy League school. He grades out great athletically. Shows everything you want on tape. The only concern is how well is he going to translate to the higher level of competition. But, again, this is a home run swing area, so I'm going to take him here.
All right. I'm up with my last pick here in the 3rd round, and I would be betraying myself if I didn't take my running back man crush, and I'm going to grab Ito Smith here from Southern Miss.
He was in consideration for me.
Smaller back, but showed great pass-catching chops, showed the ability to run through the line that you're looking for out of a smaller back, so he will still be able to get carries in the NFL, even if he's not going to get a full 20-carry workload. And his tape was just fun to watch, and there wasn't any red flags on his metrics, combine numbers, or anything like that. He's a player I kind of fell in love with a little bit, and I'm going to be targeting him in the 3rd round of many, many drafts this offseason.
Yep. Ito Smith's a guy that I really like. A little bit shorter back, but he's also thicker. He showed he can do it between the tackles. He can get small. Has catchability. He can
Catchability.
Yeah, you can catch him, and he can catch passes.
Can be caught.
He can be caught, but not likely.
All right. Before we get too more off the rails here, Dan, go ahead.
I want to go with my newish man crush, the Cooper Cup of this year's wide receiver class. Trey Quinn.
Also not on the list.
Yep.
God damn it, Nick.
I didn't make
He
the
didn't
list.
make the
God
list.
damn it, Nick. I don't care.
Come on, Nick.
Come on, Nick. Get your life together.
Trey Quinn, a slew of slot receivers, but he's one of the best here. He's a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, went to LSU, really didn't fit there because they don't know how to use the receivers. Goes to SMU and dominates with the number one receiver from our draft or from our list, and with Cortland Sutton there, I think he posted a 35% dominator rating, which is not percent, and 35 dominator rating, which is fantastic.
Did you say Ole Miss?
It is percent too.
Yeah,
No, you said LSU.
LSU.
Yeah, and then to SMU.
He's a fantastic slot receiver. He's going to be able to produce. He should be able to produce right away, depending on where he lands. Actually, land spot matters, and he has the athletic upside to maybe even be better than a Cooper Kupp. And that's my draft crush. One of them.
I can't blame you. He is pretty quickly coming up my list. I'd have him at the back end of the third on my board.
Yeah, he produced well. I think it was 2 or 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons in an offense with
Just one.
It was one. I don't have the notes in front of me.
He produced. He had. He was underutilized with LSU.
That's what it was. Was 1 year at SMU.
Yep.
He had. I think it was.
He had 109 receptions for like 1,200 yards and like.
It was over 100
touchdowns.
receptions. We're in an offense. He wasn't even the best receiver. He's a great slot guy.
All right, Matt, you're up with the 311.
All right.
Good band.
I'm feeling the temperature of the room here, and I don't think you're going to like this pick either. But putting myself in a real draft here, I've seen
If
3
not,
quarterbacks
we'll let you
come
know.
off the board. I'm panicking a little bit, and there's no way I'm taking Josh Rosen. So I'm taking.
God, don't say it.
Nope. I'm gonna love this.
Don't
pick.
say it.
I'm gonna love
I'm
this pick.
taking him right here, 311.
Over Josh Rosen.
Yes. No. That's exactly where he should go. That's exactly how I have it ranked.
Listen, I understand the risk with Josh Allen, and I'm not gonna just crush on him, but I am in the Josh Allen camp. However,
I will. So go ahead.
look at this logistically from a drafting standpoint. Josh Rosen can have a very decent career, but he's never going to break QB1 territory, in my
agree with
opinion,
you
in
there.
fantasy, in terms of fantasy. Josh Allen has the ability to do that. Now, I'll admit he has the ability to be a QB 17 as well, but I'm taking Josh Allen in the back end of the third round. I think that's the right spot to take the risk on him.
Huge arm, big hands, tall, looks great in shorts.
He does. He looks great in shorts, man. That's important.
Hold on. So those of you that don't
54%.
know, draft Josh
We've
Allen.
already done this bit.
DraftJoshAllen.com. No, we haven't done
I'm
this
glad you
bit.
guys
Yes,
done
we
this.
have done this.
we had.
No,
when
we
talked
haven't. So I've got the top 2 Matt picture up on the YouTube channel right now. So if you would look at top 2 Matt in shorts and tell me who looks better. Is it Matt or is it Josh Allen? Tweet that at Beerfield FF.
Can we make a poll? Can we make that a poll?
Yes,
We'll do it right now on Twitter.
We'll do it as soon as the show's over. But Josh Allen, I absolutely love him. I think he's got good mobility. I think that he'll be better if he can get an offensive line that can actually protect him a little bit. Wyoming's could not. Huge arm, some coachable things. Yes, I love him. I had to fade him a little bit because I loved him too much.
Yes, you brought him back down to a reasonable level here. At least.
He's my QB3.
All right, and you're up with your pick.
Oh, crap. I wasn't even thinking about that. I got so distracted with Josh Allen.
you got him so excited.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
I was so excited for Josh Allen. So I'm going to go ahead and take a tight end that I like a lot. I'm going to go ahead and take Ian Thomas. He's a tight end out of Indiana. Shows that he's got good burst after the catch. He can make people miss. He's a good route runner. He's a fantastic blocker, which is mostly how he was used. He's got good hands. He shows everything that I want in a tight end. He's a guy that's not being as heralded as Goddard or Gesicki or Andrews or even Hayden Hurst. So he's a guy that's flying under the radar that you can get late in your drafts. And I think he's got equally as much upside.
All right. I'm up with the 4-1. I'm going to take a guy that most people don't seem to be talking about whatsoever, but I am a big fan of. I am taking Justin Crawford out of West Virginia. He's kind of a Shady McCoy type where he doesn't have a lot of elite downfield athleticism, but he's very shifty, very patient, waits for his blocks, and seems to just make guys miss in space constantly at West Virginia. His tape was very impressive. His combine numbers would make you think he's not worth a hell of a lot, but his tape was impressive enough that I have him still worth a early 4th, late 3rd round pick in my rankings.
I don't disagree with you on Crawford. You're higher on him than I am, but every trait you see that you like in him, I'm right on board with.
Yep.
All right, Dan, you're up.
I'm going to go with Jordan Lasley. If he can keep his shit together, he could actually be a very good wide receiver too in an offense. He helped make Josh Rosen look better than what he actually is. He can win on all three levels. He's very fast. If he can also work on his drop problems, I believe his drop rate is fairly low. But this is where you want to take your upside swings as well. So give me Jordan Lasley.
All right. I like Jordan Lasley's tape a lot. He did come out as a little bit of a locker room cancer, which I think has actually caused him to fade a decent amount. He was a guy that was getting a lot of hype, I think, early on. But I liked his ability to run routes, his ability as a pass catcher. He's a guy that probably fits better in the slot, but he couldn't play outside. So he's a guy that I think is a great value here.
And he put up a 40% dominator rating against Pac-12 competition, which is there's a lot of good corners coming out of that conference right now.
Yep.
All right. Matt, you're up at the 4-3.
All right. I mentioned I like a name challenge here. My next guy fits that well. I'm going Kiki Cutie, I believe, and I'm not hitting on you, but I do like him.
I thought you were going to go with Justin Jackson when you said the name challenge thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know how difficult
I always
that
try to
would be
pronounce
for
it
you.
with a soft J. Let's get myself confused.
Justin Jackson?
Justin Jackson.
Jackson.
But QT has really explosive speed. He separates well. He is a smaller guy, but when he gets to this point in the draft, those are two good things, and I'm willing to give him a shot here early in the fourth.
I also agree with you on Kati. He's a guy that we had up high. We faded him a bit after we watched his tape. A lot of people were really high on him as a deep sleeper. He does separate well. He'll never be anything more than a slot receiver, I don't think. He might be fast enough to play outside, but then he's a Taylor Gabriel type of player. So
He's like Tyreek Hill light in that he's a great punt returner. He can create well after the catch. It's just that because of his small frame and size, it's hard to know what his role will be as an actual receiver.
Yeah, can he be dynamic enough that
And he played in an air raid offense, so
Yeah. Basically, he has to be good enough that a team decides they need to get him involved at all times.
yeah.
If he's just a gadget player, he won't be worth anything fantasy-wise.
Yep.
All right, Hopper, you're up with the 4-4.
I'm going to take Justin Jackson.
There you
There
go.
he is.
Justin
Way himself.
Wow, didn't mean to do that. Justin Jackson's a guy that is a little bit undersized, so I don't know if he'll ever be a 3-down back unless he packs on about 15 pounds. But he's got good shiftability. He's I'm making up words today.
You are.
He's got good hands. He's a great pass catcher. He's a guy that can be a change of pace, 3rd-down back, kind of like a Chris Thompson type of guy. That stiff arm, though.
He does lose in this. He does. Wow. Go ahead.
You were saying?
No.
Okay.
You can go.
He does look to stiff arm all the time, but he's got a pretty good one. But he's shifty, he's quick, he graded well at the combine. I liked his tape a lot out of Northwestern. He was super productive at the college level. So I will gladly take him in a 4th round.
All right, you technically sniped me, but this late in the draft, I don't really care that much because it's just basically tiers. So I'm going to go ahead and grab...
Isn't crying because I sniped you?
Yes. lots of tiers.
Lots of tears.
As you can see.
I'm up to 7 tiers now.
We need to put that high five on that perfect drop segment. That's how you transition.
But to bring this back to the happy place, let's make Travis real happy and take Chris Warren out of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger back, showed great agility at the combine.
Real big back.
Terrible 40 time at the combine. Then he turned around and improved it by almost 0.15 seconds at his pro day.
Wow.
At almost 250 pounds, he ran a 4.57. He's looking like the type of back who might be able to make a splash in the NFL. I'm continuing to look for guys like Scarborough, like Warren at this point in the draft who might have a chance at hitting at a 3-down back and a home run rather than getting a guy I expect to be a marginal flex play at best PPR type back. All right, Dan, you're up.
I do a good job of letting.
I'm sorry, Matt's up.
I'm up.
No, Dan's up.
I do a good job of not letting slide down too far. I'm going to take Josh Rosen here. I don't like Josh Rosen that much, but he's going to be drafted as being a number 1 quarterback in an offense sooner than later.
Woo, Blaine Gabbert.
Yes. And if he sucks, it's a 4th-round pick, so who the fuck cares?
Exactly.
That's why you take your upside here. Josh Rosen does have the ability to be one. He was touted as the best as the best day one ready quarterback. I don't believe that's true, but he is not horrible from the pocket. When he actually sets his mind on something, he can actually throw the football fairly well, and that's all the positives I want to say about him.
All right, Matt, you're with your second to last pick.
All right. We are in the point of the draft here where we are stabbing in the dark more than anything. Myself, probably more than the three of you.
Like fishing in the dark?
Well, it's
I
also
really
hard
want
to
to say
stab
that sound right now.
They're both difficult. I'm going to take Richie James at a Middle Tennessee State.
Okay.
That's going to be my pick.
We like him.
Undersized guy, but the same kind of mentality where he could land in a spot where he jump right in the slot. Might be a 1 or 2 year investment kind of guy, but he can produce, quicker guy, better footwork, but, not going to come in and make an immediate impact.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. I like Richie James as a late round flyer. He's a guy that probably going to be in the slot, but he's a guy that flashed a bit on tape. He had hands. He had quickness.
He has hands?
He had 2 hands. I did like that about his tape. He had both of them.
Yeah. You can't say that about everybody in this draft.
Thankfully, none of them are pass catchers.
It's true.
Yeah, I
this
didn't
year
watch
and
any
probably
JPP,
this year only.
so.
Oh, I was referring to the
Shaq Griffin.
Shaq Griffin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Too soon. Not really.
Yeah. Oof. That's rough.
He had an amputated when he was, 4?
Yeah.
Wow. Now I take my joke back. Thanks.
You shouldn't tee me up for things that could potentially go non-PC.
I take
We
no
like
credit
we
for
like
this.
dark comedy around here.
Indeed.
We like dark comments.
All right. Hopper, you're up with your second to last pick.
So I'm going to take the most talented idiot in the draft. I'm going to go with Antonio Callaway.
The slide ends.
The slide ends, yeah. So he is his draft stock is probably going to be next to nothing which is going to hurt up front because he's screwed up a lot. But if he interviews well, if he can impress a team that takes a chance on him, a team that doesn't have a lot of wide receiver depth, he's a guy that came off is very talented.
So also somebody who doesn't care about off-field issues, so it's going to be the Bengals.
He'll end up on the Bengals, and they'll finally have a true number 2. He's a guy that, based on talent alone, could have been in the top tier of wide receivers in this draft. He's a good route runner. He's got good hands. He's quick. He's got everything you look for in a wide receiver. He's got okay size. Real okay size, not like last year's draft where yeah.
You actually know how big people are than
I actually know how big people are this year.
Let me guess his size. Damn it, I was wrong.
So the joke, Matt, is last year we didn't go nearly deep enough in the draft when we were doing our review episodes, and I would just guess it, guys. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a pretty big wide receiver, big-bodied guy. He'll be good. And Dan's like, yeah, he's 5'6", 150 pounds.
I believe one of them was Trent Taylor because I don't think we watched him.
Yep.
Yep, it
Yeah.
was.
And then Taywan Taylor, too.
And then Taylor.
No, we watched Taywan Taylor.
We did watch Taylor Taylor.
Anyway, back to Antonio Callaway, though. He's supremely talented, but he's one off-field issue away from being out of the league. So he's a guy that's got some risk to him, not because of his talent, but this could all change after the draft. But that's why I'm taking him here. Huge upside play here.
All right. So I am to my last pick in the draft, and I feel like sniping Dan's. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jordan Wilkins here.
He was one of my picks here.
Yeah.
I love Jordan Wilkins.
Well, I guarantee you there's no way Matt snipes me on this pick. So
He's a running back out of Ole Miss. We actually got a tip from somebody on Twitter that we needed to watch his tape, and he immediately jumped into our mid-tier of running backs. Looks like he actually has the ability to possibly be a 3-down back, though he's a little bit smaller. But
no, he's got the size. I think he's 6'1", 6'2", 215, 220. He's a bigger back.
a little bit smaller than ideal. Ideal is 225-ish. But it's still solid. He's kind of Kamara-sized. Flashed a lot on tape on a bad Ole Miss team. So he's the type of guy who you might get some decent upside out of this late in the draft. And he's a guy that barely anyone's talking about. So I just want to make people aware of him. Plus possibly Snipe Dan.
That was one of my picks here. It would have been. It actually would have been my pick, but
not surprising.
Dan, you're up.
I'm gonna take a shot at a tight end that obviously Matt does not like because he wants to keep burying Mark Andrews. But I'm gonna take Mark Andrews here.
Good pick.
He's a great pass catching tight end. He was the number one. He led all tight ends in slot receptions and yards. He led all tight ends in deep receptions and yards. He just gets used in that offense. Obviously, that was Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma offense set him up to success. But we play fantasy football. We don't get points per block. So as long as Mark Andrews can actually land on an offense that can use them right away, in terms of that, in terms of a pass catching tight end, he may have some success. And again, we're in the back end of the 4th round, so I don't really fucking care if this works or not. I'm just taking a shot at it.
All right. Matt, second to last pick for you.
All right. I debated taking Fumagalli here, but I'm going to let him go.
Well, that's good because that saved you from another roasting from me.
I debated
Opera
it. I
roast
really
all the
would have
picks.
only gone if Andrews hadn't gone off the board, just so I can make one more comment. But I will take Deontay Burnett at a USC.
I love that pick.
I mean, he's really good with his feet. Another slot guy. You can kind of tell who my style is in this draft, at least. But
Plays tough over the middle.
That's because all the receivers in this draft are slot receivers.
He's another USC guy whose pro day might have been a little muddled by reporting and by hamstring injury. But yeah, I liked his tape. He plays tough over the middle, good hands.
He does.
Good route guy.
Fantastic
Yeah.
hands.
our rookie guy over at Top 2 did a good article on him, so he sold me a little bit on him. So shout out to Josh on that one.
Yeah, I like Deontay Burnett a decent amount. He was a guy I actually had way too high when I first watched tape, and then I went back and rewatched.
You and I
and faded
both.
him.
I did fade him a little bit. Size concerns me. And the fact is, he's just another slew of slot receivers. He needs to stand out. But when you get a smallish receiver his size who plays strong over the middle and has great hands, I think his career drop percentage was like 2.67 or something ridiculous. He makes a lot of diving catches, so it's not just easy body catches because of that offense. He actually can produce.
Not afraid to get hit.
We just hope that he can hold up to those.
And it's the second to last pick. And
Exactly.
All right.
That's the true point.
And with Mr. Irrelevant, Hopper is on the clock.
Jake Weineke. I
I,
told you I wouldn't get sniped.
Ugh.
So there's three receivers in this class that have kind of similar athletic profiles. Auden Tate, who I dislike completely, Marcel Laitman, who I dislike marginally less, and Jake Weineke, who I don't dislike at all. Weineke is a guy that comes out of a small school. He actually played in the same offense as Dallas Goedert. He had over 5,500 career receiving yards, 59 touchdowns in his career. So he absolutely dominated competition, is not the only option on his team, which is what you want to see out of smaller school guys. And he showed a lot of technical ability. He changes speed in his routes really well, which kind of masks the fact that he's not the quickest guy or not the most athletic guy that allows him to get separation. He's a big receiver. He's a good route runner, great hands, exceptional productivity. Is Mr. Irrelevant. If I'm taking a guy in the fourth round, especially at the very end, I'm all for Jake Weineke.
I will never hate on a guy that you want to take as an upside swing.
Yeah.
But my God,
and he's from Maple Grove, Minnesota.
if
so.
he would have had, and I love
We
him
know
for
how
that.
white Minnesota wide receivers work out.
Yep. I mean, two of them are pretty fucking good. So at least one was.
Decker,
If he didn't, he was good.
If he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And we love Adam Thielen here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in a dynasty draft, he's somebody you're throwing on your taxi squad and hoping for the best. And
Exactly.
that's fine with me.
all right. Who is left on the board that you were still thinking about?
Okay. So, no, there are a couple.
Deshaun Hamilton's one of them.
Deshaun Hamilton's
Deshaun,
one.
excuse
Akram Wadley is one for me.
Juwan Moore.
Jamon Moore. I think the other, Dylan Cantrell, Jaleel Scott,
Yep.
and Cedric Wilson would be the big ones for me.
Ones you guys didn't say that I'm was still eyeing around that
receivers.
point. For me would be Chase Edmonds, Larry Rose III,
Larry Rose III is another one for me.
Ryan Nall.
I got one for you. Timmy Cobbs Jr., right? Right?
Nope.
Timmy
No.
Cobbs?
No.
Fuck Timmy Cobbs.
Nope.
We are anti-Timmy Cobbs here, by the way, Matt.
Well, hey, glad I didn't take him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those were.
I got enough crap. Right? I didn't need to take Cobbs too.
We like to give friendly feedback.
Aggressively
Aggressively friendly.
Aggressively friendly
We
feedback.
do not create drops eviscerating teams and or players here at all.
We are strong in our opinions. We enjoy each other's debates and company. We enjoy opposing opinions.
All right. So that was the first 4-round mock draft we've ever done on this podcast. So, Matt, thank you so much for jumping on with us for that. Let us know what you thought of the picks. Let us know if you hate any of them or are going to roast us for drafting Ridley at 2-4 or anything like that.
That's where he should go.
Or James Washington falling to round 3.
That's a
That's
little
where
too
he should
far,
go.
but that's where he should go.
That's where he should go.
Sending a message.
Be sure on round 1 of the draft. Be sure to tune into YouTube. Like us, subscribe, follow.
Shoot us calls.
Beer Fueled Fantasy Football on YouTube.
Beerfield Fantasy Football. We will be doing a live stream. We might have some friends popping in. We're not entirely sure yet. So
Are you doing phone calls?
We might
Yeah.
we might do phone calls.
I don't know if I'm going to do phone calls from listeners, but I might do phone calls from podcasters.
I did mention to a certain fan of the show who makes great Greek food that wants to call in and provide some insight.
Yanni?
Dan, the other one.
Oh, okay. We might open it up. We'll see. It's not like I can't disconnect anybody that wants to be an idiot. So that's my fear when we open things to the general public.
I get you.
Not that I generally think our listeners are idiots. I don't, but there's a bad apple in every bunch that just wants to argue. So
All right. And then to preview next week, we're going to do tight ends, I think, in just one episode because we've kind of cut the list down far enough.
yeah,
well,
we
they
did.
retire, or they're just blocking tight ends, or because they're fucking tight ends, and most of them
Yep.
won't matter until like 3 or 4 years from now.
Yeah, Matt, you got anything you want to promote? When's your podcast drop?
Yeah, I'll just give a shout out to the podcast at Top 2 Pod. We're on iTunes, Podbean, really anywhere you can get your podcasts. Follow us at Top 2 Sports on Twitter. I'm at Top 2 Matt. We drop about 2 a week, so we'll have another one drop in tomorrow night.
All right.
Fantastic. And what are you covering?
You know, to be decided.
Still to be recorded.
It's our weekly update, so we'll go through news and notes for the week. But we usually come up with the topic day of, because we're well organized like that.
Obviously.
Hey, we're always prepared but never organized.
Yeah, we usually know what we're doing, but it goes off the rails pretty fast.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this. As always, we are at BeerfieldFF on Twitter. I am at Nick Sparts. Dan Thury across the table from me.
At Thury BFF.
To my left, running the mic and the main host on the computer is Chris Hopper.
At Hot BFF with 2 Ps.
Thank you for keeping the technology going through this.
You are welcome.
And we will catch you guys next time on Beer Fuel Fantasy Football.
See ya.
Later.